everybody. Dan Orlovsky, Victor Cruz, Field Yates. I'm Wendy Nix from NFL Live. Clearly, the Patriots are a hot topic these days, primarily because their quarterback of 20 years is set to become a free agent. We don't know what happens next. What we do know is what has happened, and that we've seen unprecedented success out of Bill Belichick and the Patriots under his tenure. Listen, not every move has panned out, Dan. They're not all right, but he's made some very good ones and some that others missed. What move that perhaps flew under the radar do you like that Bill has done?
Can I take the obvious answer?
I mean,
have at it.
Talk about the softball tee up here.
Drafting the quarterback, Tom Brady, and then, I mean, listen, he did make the courageous move of moving on from Bledsoe at the controversial time, so to speak, in handing Tom Brady the reins, and he somehow has kept Tom Brady to play at the highest level, but also relatively cheap in comparison to the rest of the NFL. So I'm going to take the easy one. He's kept the best quarterback ever cheap.
What's interesting is I covered the team during that transition from Bledsoe to Brady. And when we talk about now about the rift between these two, you have to remember at the time he went all in on Brady. Mm-hmm. I mean, the sort of prevailing theory was you couldn't lose your job to injury, which is exactly what was the case with Drew Bledsoe. And Belichick didn't beat an eye. So it's interesting to me.
Yeah, but for me, obviously, Brady's already off the board. But I'm going to go with Julian Edelman. I mean, obviously, for Tom Brady, he's going to need weapons. He's going to need that guy. And for years, it's been that slot receiver position, whether it's Wes Welker or other guys that have filled that role. Julian Edelman has been the most consistent. He's been the one that has been there in most of those timely moments, those big catches, those big third downs. He's been the guy to kind of be there for Tom Brady and be that safety valve for him. Obviously, Gronk was there making all those big splash plays, but Julian Edelman has been that train that just keeps playing, keeps ticking on that track, and keeps making those big, timely third down possessions to either keep drives alive or put them in position to kick field goals and win ball games.
You either prioritize or you regret special teams. And the Patriots have consistently prioritized special teams, and no player is more emblematic of that than Matthew Slater, who drafted in the 5th round, a wide receiver, a guy who had a productive career at UCLA, and he has barely played wide receiver at all for the Patriots. Instead, he's become the best coverage player in special teams that maybe the league's ever seen. He's up there in the conversation, and you'll be hard-pressed to find a finer man that has walked through the Patriots locker room than Matthew Slater. He's an emotional leader. He's a spiritual leader. He's a consistent leader. He is the type of player that whether you've been in the league for 10 years or 10 days, whether you play offense, defense, special teams, doesn't matter where you come from, Matthew Slater will be somebody that will connect to you. He's been that for the Patriots for a decade.
Yeah, well, extremely well said. Let me ask you this, though. Is there a system in place? I mean, I don't want to take away what Bill does, and he does it as well or better than anybody else, but is there a systematic approach that New England has that allows them to have this type of success with some under-the-radar kind of folks?
I don't think that anybody who's been in a position of authority with personnel will say, hey, we don't have this figured out. But what the Patriots have probably realized is that it's hard. Scouting is not a science. It's an art. And the best method can be to give yourself more bites at the apple. So they've done a lot of things, whether it's adding draft picks, whether it's using later draft picks on established veterans. They have just consistently found a way to increase their margin for error, and I think that's been a big differentiator for them relative to other teams that have made more all-in moves.
And I just think on top of that, they've built a culture there. Like, if you tell any player you're about to go play for the New England Patriots, there's a different mindset that clicks into your mind. You're like, okay, I got to bring my A game. I know that there's going to be no time for slouching. I have to be able to be in these meeting rooms, attentive, understanding what I'm doing, and then applying what I'm learning from the meeting rooms onto the football field. Because if I don't do that, I could be on the next thing smoking in the next.
Well, and we've seen a number of players who came in with less than perfect pass, right?
Exactly.
They've not all been choir boys, and yet somehow, I swear, they fall into line.
They don't box players in, and they get everyone to live on a day-to-day basis and then play with an urgency, no matter what their experience level is. And that's why they've had this run.
Well, there's some sense of urgency, I think, in terms of Tom Brady's decision. Everybody's waiting, and in the case of some teams, waiting to plan. So we'll see the new league year set to begin next week.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, more analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+. We'll see you there.